while you spoke about leadership buy-in, policy, execution, another very important lever is finance, right? And green finance, if I'm not wrong, is still 10% of the total project funding. So how do you think can renewable energy, become bankable at scale?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I think it's really all about finance. Even if I, excuse me, go back to the COP discussion, it's really about financing. Can countries who need the financing, need the capital, really get it? Right now we are, I think, at about 10 to 12 trillion dollars. We need about 25 to 30 trillion dollars year on year for us to be able to, meet the execution requirements, right? Now what's happening is, I think the government, again, I must give them credit, has stepped in and come up with a lot of enabling policies and programs where financing has made available, whether it's through IRIDA, whether it's through other schemes. And that's definitely helped the sector in a good way. I think companies like us have been quite innovative and have reached out to global investors to be able to come up with innovative products which address the issues of the cost of capital. We've come up with masala bonds and all sorts of permutations and combinations to ensure that we can, manage the risk associated with the fundraise, the debt fundraise. I think what we can do is that the multilateral institutions, the blended finance area, I think that's an area where we can get multilateral organizations and institutions to come in and help us with managing the risk so that we can increase the pool of capital which can be obtained. So these are some of the ways. Otherwise, I think at our own level, at a private sector level, good execution has helped us attract a lot of international capital on the equity side and on the debt side as well. And of course, it's also important because it's a very capital intensive business to ensure we maintain the balance. So the entire management has to be, I think, a bit of the government incentives, innovation by the private sector, financial institution, private finance stepping up a little bit more, perhaps the banks taking a little bit more risk, and of course multilateral institutions as well have a role to play.
Do you think that a green financial institution, maybe something like a green bank, would really, help to meet these upcoming, like you mentioned, 25 to 30 trillion dollars for execution requirement? Do you think like something like that would help?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we are living in a very, as I said, globally fragmented, unpredictable world with a lot of geopolitical issues. And I think it's highly risky when you see countries come in and make ESG, sustainability, renewables a bad word. And you come up with innovations like green coal and so on and so forth, which is beyond comprehension, I think. So I feel that an institution which is focused on helping the sector and fund the sector and work on innovations which will enable the risk management associated with the, raising finance for the renewable energy sector. And broadly, the space at large will definitely be of use. And I think it should be headquartered in a country like India, because really the action is happening here. We are the third fastest growing renewable energy I guess, country committed to renewables. And so I guess where the problems are, there you find the solutions, and hence an institution like that will be useful to have.
And what do you think about, carbon markets is up and coming in the country, so is green bonds. But do you think that they are sufficiently liquid and transparent to even attract global investors?
Yeah. No, so, I won't use the word sufficient. I think, in the last COP, a lot of work has been done on clarity for carbon markets. Even at the COP, we are seeing that, the kind of universal language for financing is adopted by countries. I think there was a huge initiative which has been adopted by many countries. And, so I think all of these initiatives climate is not something we can do in a country all by itself, especially things like carbon markets. You know, the supply is coming from global players and stakeholders, and solutions are being provided in different parts of the world. Often, many of the solutions are being provided in developing economies and so on and so forth. So I think going back to the idea, we do need a uniform code of financing to make it easy to understand, manage the risk, and to make all of these products comparable so that products can be understood and used. Otherwise, it gets too complicated.
Okay, so like a global benchmarks, thresholds.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and when it comes to, you know, like leveraging pension, insurance, sovereign wealth funds for clean infrastructure, what regulatory reforms do you think are required to really accelerate their adoption?
Right. Sure. So if you look at pension funds, etc., globally, if you look at them, and if you look at Renew, we've had investments. CPPIB is an investor in Renew, which is one of the largest pension funds. We have Adia, which is also a sovereign financial institution. So there is a lot of activity globally, and if I look at Renew itself, we've had investment from Jera, which is in Japan, CPPIB in the western part of the world, and of course Adia in the Middle East, and then IFC, etc. So ADB, sorry, and so there is really a lot of interest by these institutions. I think it's also a reflection of the interest and the momentum the countries have built, which is also leading some of these institutions to take the plunge. And I think a lot of capital is flowing to India because I think these institutions are seeing the enabling environment as far as the policy framework is concerned. They are seeing a lot of execution and us being able to triple our performance over the last decade or so. And the 50 gigawatts is year on year is quite a reality. We are already touching 40 gigawatts this year on year, as far as the capacity is concerned. And these are all, I would say, golden nuggets for investors. When they see action on the ground, efficiencies, innovation, I think capital flows automatically, whether it is sovereign, whether it is multilateral, or whether it's private capital.
Interesting.